Hello, you are watching the Pure Passion Biz Podcast with Akua Hinds, and I am your host, Akua Hinds. Today, I have the joy of interviewing Andre Milosavljevic, and he is a business coach. How are you today, Andre?
I'm very well, Akua. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here. So, I would like to, of course, introduce you to our audience, and I want to ask you, was entrepreneurship always your goal when you first started working? If not, what motivated you to pursue entrepreneurship?
Good question, Akua. It wasn't a goal rather than a feeling. I once I got into working as an employee, I always had it in the back of my mind. Why do we restrict ourselves to a certain allotted time to make money and a certain time span to make money? And so I started at a really young age to start making money outside of working hours as well, just not restricting myself to just those hours. So it wasn't a goal, but it just ended up being something it turned into just because of that feeling I have had of doing more than just the basics.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And that feeling that you had, did it come from watching other entrepreneurs as well? Or did it come from maybe family members and friends encouraging you to seek out more?
I think it has a lot to do with my upbringing, simply because we didn't watch a lot of TV, so we always had to keep ourselves busy with doing something. And being that you don't have TV and internet wasn't around, smartphones weren't around back then. You were always outside tinkering with something, or I was out at a farm, and my father, who was a carpenter, did a lot of work around the farm, and so I just started working with him, and it was just something that was, I guess, in my blood.
Okay. So I'm sure that farming and being around and being on a farm helped to prepare you for just being very consistent as well and sowing seeds, knowing that those seeds would
Mhm.
maybe not sprout that same day, but they would eventually, especially if you take care of the field, right? Take care of the crop. So, and that's true of entrepreneurship as well. Sometimes, as entrepreneurs, the efforts we put in today are efforts that we want to see immediate results. Sometimes we might, sometimes we won't, but we're still sowing seeds, and those seeds can and usually do eventually blossom into future opportunities. So,
That's a good
I've
way of putting it.
hmm I think so too. I think that's something that people need to understand about entrepreneurship is that when you put the effort in, you will see the results. And so everyone's experience is different, of course, but that's been my experience that, once you get started, once you start putting forth that determination, that belief, things will, you know, blossom the way they're supposed to.
Oh,
and
absolutely. And it's one of the things in this type of world where we have instant gratification. It's something that we don't have anymore, where we learn to sow something and then watch it grow.
Absolutely. And I agree with that. I agree with that. We do live in a society where um, a lot of things are instant. Communication it's very, typical now to just pick up a phone, a tablet, a computer, and just communicate with someone on the other side of the world within seconds. And of course, in years past, that wasn't always the case. And even with warming up our food, microwaves, right? Um, we often want things
Yep.
to happen as quickly as it takes to warm up a pizza in the oven, but sometimes things take time. And with the rise of technology making life easier for everyone to communicate and launch unique careers, do you see a trend of people recognizing that entrepreneurship is a worthy career choice?
I do, especially in the trades and just simply in the digital world. For the trades, for example, because there's such a shortage of trades, a lot of tradesmen are becoming entrepreneurs and business owners for themselves, such as myself. That's how I got into an entrepreneurship. I was an electrician, started my contracting business, and then from the contracting business I got into real estate, so I kind of grew as an entrepreneur just from that one kind of career that I chose from. And then as well as the digital world, I can see so much potential, especially with the rise of AI out there nowadays, and everybody having a global reach. I remember when internet first came out, it was such a small, distant idea of being able to communicate with someone simply like you and I are today, that nowadays we can do it, like you said, within a click of a button, and entrepreneurs can do it so much easier this day and age than ever before. So I do totally see a rise.
Oh, very interesting points. Thank you, Andre. Now, based on your experience working with your clients, what are the top three reasons that people share with you about their fears about pursuing entrepreneurship?
In my experience, and just working with tradesmen alone, like with apprentices, and then talking with them as well, it's all psychological. It's all the top three ones is they don't have support from friends or family. And it is one of the reasons that I got into coaching myself. Just when I got into contracting and real estate, I didn't have anyone to ask. So that's the one number one fear that they, or the one obstacle that they have. The other one is fear of failure. And I believe this comes a lot from the education system, the public education, well, just the education system as a whole, where we are taught to always have the correct answer. And if you get it wrong, it's somehow bad. And once we leave school, we're never taught how to deal with failure. We're brought through the school system to always have the correct answer and recite the same answer. And when you leave school, you don't have that. And so that's a huge one. And the third one is they don't have guidance. So even if they did have the support, like I had, my family would told me move forward with your dreams, but they didn't give me guidance because they weren't business owners themselves. They didn't do contracting, they didn't do real estate, so they didn't know what loopholes to do, how to navigate the business world. And so I feel those are the three that I always get from my clients.
I'm so glad that you mentioned those three reasons. I'm sure that many people watching this right now can relate to at least one of them. Um, I think there almost needs to be a course or a workshop on how to train people on how to support their friends and family members who are pursuing their own path. Because it's true, we as a society, a lot of us are conditioned to think a certain way, that we need to live a certain way and go down a certain path in order to be successful. That's just not going to be the case for everyone. And I 100% agree with you about the school system and how it's not always doing the best job of teaching us what we need to know. In fact, coming up to the viewers, I will be interviewing someone who you know quite well, Andre, and she is the owner of a tutoring business. We're going to be talking about homeschooling, something that I'm very much in support of, private education. That's something else I also strongly support. And so, yes, it all ties in, it all comes together. And as an entrepreneur, you are going to have to um, you're going to have to wash away some of those beliefs that you have stuck in your mind about what path you need to take to be successful, because your path is going to be different from your friend's path, from your family member's path, and that's all right. And sometimes you just have to be a pioneer, and you have to step out, and you have to do what needs to be done in order to live your life your way. So
Absolutely. And most of the
mhm.
education I've learned is outside of the public education system.
Same with me, same with me. And so I'm so glad that more people are waking up to the fact that the public school system is not the be all and end all. And really, um, there are much better options than
I agree.
staying in a system where they want to train you to be a certain way only. We're all unique individuals. And so we need to explore that and accept that and embrace that. So I'm
Absolutely.
excited to talk about that some more. I'm so excited to hear your viewpoints on that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Andre. And with regards to starting a business, of course, a lot of people, one of the things that might be holding people back is they don't feel they have the education to start a business.
Mhm.
And, you talked about that a little bit. A lot of times, um, depending on the business that you're in, you can get started without necessarily needing to go through years and years and years of training, depending on the type of business that it is. And so
That's right.
hiring a mentor is often a really great way to build on achieving success and to get the guidance that you need. And starting a business does not need to be a difficult, expensive, or a lengthy process. I mean, you and I both know that. And what are steps that potential entrepreneurs can take to determine what would be the best type of business for them to build? What's your viewpoint on that?
My That's a great question, and my viewpoint is that we all got into our profession that we are currently in for some reason or another. It was either we had a dream that got put out and then we just ended up staying there, or we had a passion for doing it. And I would say start where you are. I started in electrical because I enjoyed doing it. But once I became an employee and a journeyman, I didn't like it because I didn't like the systems that were put in place. And so even though I didn't like it, I didn't search with like outside of the field. I continued to pursue it, learning the trade from within. So I would say anyone looking to pursue, learn what you're doing within the company that you're currently doing. It's free education. Learn from your boss, learn from your foreman, your supervisors, your other co-workers. Be friendly with your coworkers, because if your goal is to start that business, you might be taking those coworkers with you to start your business. So there's so many things I can learn, and I learned it all in construction from my bosses: how to price jobs, how to deal with project managers, clients, all of that. And then if you don't like what you're doing and you want to pursue something new, then you're going to have to do it almost on your own and have to do a lot of learning, no matter what it is. And a lot of people think that they need to go back to school to learn something. And there's so much information out there, free information. And you don't have to go to school. Many business owners out there don't have any sort of degree or business course or anything like that. And they're more successful than those that do.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And I agree that, finding the right person to coach you, to guide you, to train you, that is one of the best things you can do. I'm not against going out and learning courses. I myself, I went to post-secondary school. I do have associate degrees and certifications, and they've been very helpful and they've helped to train me. But it is very true that there are many people um, living right now, and many people from many years before who didn't necessarily go out and get a fancy degree, and they were able to truly build and create wonderful careers and lives for themselves. And so that's something else to consider as well. Just figure out what path it is that you need to take and go down that path. Don't think that it has to be um, just one route and that's it, because sometimes that route might take you down another route that you're meant to be on. I really love that advice that you shared, Andre. What should
Exactly.
what do you think a new business owner should consider when they're deciding who to reach out to? So, how do you think they should pick a mentor? What are the things that they should look for in a mentor?
First off, find someone who is in the field that you're looking to grow in. Not There's not a lot of mentors out there will try and be a one size fits all, and that is not the case, in my opinion. For instance, I can deal with a lot of service-based industries, but I can't deal with retail-based industries because I don't have experience in that. So I won't tell someone I can guide them in that if I don't have experience in that. And also, you're going to want to find someone who's going to give you their honest opinion and not what you want to hear. So, for instance, someone who's going to keep you accountable when you're setting goals and making sure you get there, and asking you, why didn't you reach there? And if not, well, then why not? And finding out how to take the correct actions. And I would also say is, listen. I would not argue with, if you're hiring a mentor, don't try and argue knowledge. The reason you hired them is for their knowledge, and there might be disagreements, but at the same time, come in with an open mind.
That's such wonderful advice. I really love what you said about, especially about coming in with an open mind, being coachable, being willing to receive the guidance and the training. I think a lot of people are stubborn and they feel that they know what they should do and they want to prove that they can do it without help. But there's no harm in seeking out help, right?
Even successful people have coaches, and even I myself, and I know other people who are, like, for instance, people who are at $10 million in business and want to get to $50 million in business. They need a different type of coach than someone who's just starting out and trying to get to their first 1 million. Coaches are for everybody.
Very true. Very true. And lastly, Andre, what is the best reward that you've gained from being a business owner and a coach?
I was thinking about this when you sent me the questionnaire, and I enjoy the enjoyment of waking up and every day to do what I want, and to have the time that I have to do when I want to do it, and to help others achieve the same. Uh, Becoming an entrepreneur, yes, it's hard work at the beginning, as any entrepreneur will tell you that has actually made it, but the reward is there when you have the freedom to do what you want. And at the same time, with great power comes great responsibility. Because I do get to choose what I want to do, I also have to keep myself accountable and responsible to continue working on myself and building businesses. But that's what I would say is the time freedom.
I could definitely relate to that. I love not having to set an alarm clock unless I want to.
Exactly.
having the having the opportunity to do with every second of the day what I want to do, and knowing that just it builds a certain type of confidence, right? And of course, we want other people
Exactly.
to know that too and to experience that for themselves. Andre, thank you so much for sharing your advice and information about your journey with us. So, to all of the viewers, Andre's information will be posted in the description. I want to thank you so much for watching the Pure Passion Biz podcast. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.